Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the whole flock of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. To give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Most High, the Heavenly Father, his Hebrew name is Yahweh. Not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah, not Abba. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua. It's Yahweh Shah. So gotta give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops and elders of great millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether accepted or not. And a sincere salutation to all the occupants pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hope from the elect. Shalom to the outward well listening, learning. If your sisters who are listening, learning. Coming at you another lesson of true facts, faith, and edification, another daily edification. Lord, always be edifying. So I titled this lesson, you putting all your strength into this place and it's weak. Jake put all their strength into being successful, whatever that looks like in their life. Whatever portion of Jake's life, they put all their strength into it. And we all once did before we came into the truth, before the Lord, shed a light on us. But then you realize you put on your strength into a place that's weak, that's being destroyed. So I want to play this and get a few precepts. Lord, wouldn't it be edifying? Because we putting all our strength into this place, and this place is deteriorating, man. As the Lord said in Isaiah 14:11, the worms covered thee and the worms spread under thee. This place is corroded, man. That's why Micah 2:10 said, rise and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, and it will destroy you even with a sword destruction. This place is done, man. But we put all our strength into whatever we're trying to do in our life, and this place is weak, man. Now, as Solomon mentioned in Ecclesiastes, whatever you put your hand forth to do it with all your might. Well, the Lord have woken us up to this truth to put this first. So I want to play this niggas free precepts. Lord, wouldn't it be edifying? Let me turn this volume down.
Let's bring down here Euro Pacific Capital Chief Economist and Global Strategist Peter Schiff and Nat Alliance Securities Andy Brenner. Andy, you sat here the last meeting and said that's going to be the last hike. Okay, we're not here to make anybody, squirm, but why did he raise and not pause this time?
Liz, he was concerned about the message he was saying. I think he made a huge mistake. There's no question the banking system's in terrible disarray, and it's just going to get worse. The negative arbitrage between going to treasury bills at 4.80 or money funds at 4.5 and banks paying 1 to 2%. Banks are going to continue to lose money and lose deposits. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And he did say that 6 banks are in trouble, or he used some kind of specific Fed verbiage to say that. So I think the banking system's going to get a lot worse, which is why you saw the 2-year yield go from 4.25 around noon to 4.125 when you just said it as he spoke, down to 3.95. And I think that's going to continue to happen. And you saw the 2-10 yield curve right at the beginning go to minus 63. And then last I looked on my phone here was minus 46. So I think that tells you that steepening move that we're seeing tells you that there's a lot of problems out there and the Fed's going to have to ease, and the markets do not believe that the banking system is solved.
And yet, Peter, he said 10 times, because I got my producer, Finley Walker, counting. Oh, now it's 12, Finley? Okay, 12 times he said that our inflation target is 2%. We're hovering around 6%. Are we going to get to 2%? Because he certainly insisted that they are going to keep raising rates until we get to that point.
No, we're not going to get anywhere near 2%, maybe not even in our lifetimes. That's how far off Powell is. You know, the reason that he hiked rates, he's borrowing a trick from a magician. It's called misdirection. Because with the one hand, he's raising rates, but he's got another hand behind his back where he's just returned to quantitative easing. He's actually creating inflation. He's not fighting it. And I thought one of the most ridiculous comments he made is when he was kind of asked to explain that. And Powell denied that the Fed was quantitative easing. And the reason he said that it's not QE is his explanation was when the Fed was printing money and buying bonds because it wanted to bring interest rates down, that was QE. But now it's printing money and buying bonds, but it's doing it for a different reason. So even though it's exactly the same, it's not QE. So when you create inflation because you want to, it's quantitative easing. But when you create inflation because you have to, then I guess, you know, he pretends he's not doing it. But he is creating inflation. And so what Powell is now doing is pouring gasoline on a fire. He's just pretending that he's trying to put it out.
And I would think that the embers, if not more flames, are starting to grow here. And I only say that, Andy, because looking suddenly at Comerica's in trouble right now. Those shares are down. I will say the S&P's turned positive, as has the NASDAQ. Russell's still down. Dow Jones Industrial still down, but way off session lows. Remember, that was down 271. It's down 39 points right now. But Andy, you just pointed out that he said six banks he believed were really kind of floundering or under siege. But I do want to play this one particular soundbite. He said that we have the vice chair of the Federal Reserve, Michael Barr, who is going to appear before Congress this week or next week to give a review of what's going on. But the Fed appears to have been asleep at the wheel with Silicon Valley Bank. And he also downplayed that there was any contagion. Listen to what he said.
I realized, right away that there was going to be a need for a review. I mean, the question we were all asking ourselves over that first weekend was, how did this happen? These are not weaknesses that are at all broadly through the banking system. This was a bank that was an outlier in terms of both its percentage of uninsured deposits and in terms of its holdings of duration risk.
An outlier. Signature Bank no longer exists because it collapsed after SVB. Andy, and where's Credit Suisse today? It had to be bought in a shotgun wedding by UBS.
Well, Liz, I'm not going to go to the Credit Suisse thing because that's a whole different venue. But here in the United States, regional banks are under severe trouble. You know, SVB, you had Signature. I mean, the Fed last week had to put $440 billion into the system. The Home Loan Bank put another $300 billion. Liz, basically, that's effectively wiping out the whole QT that they've done in the last 11 months. And it's going to get worse, worse, and worse. I was scanning the headlines today, and you have West Bank had to get some outside sources of money. They've lost 20% of their deposits. And as you go on, you mentioned Comerica. I'm telling you that this is mushrooming. We need to lower rates 100 basis points. Forget about inflation for the moment. The expectation.
You just say 100 basis points?
100 basis points. We need to get to 3 to 3.5 in order to stop the bleeding in the banking system. All right, that's what we need to do. And Powell's not ready to do that. He's not ready to think about that. But, that's what he really needs to do. So, yeah, as far as what do I think I think this, again, is the last Fed hike in this cycle, but we'll have to wait. If we get 6% inflation numbers, then he's going to try to do it again. It won't work.
Peter.
Well, I agree. I think this is the pivot. I mean, it's a soft pivot, but he made it clear that he eased his forward guidance. So I think the next move from the Fed is going to be a cut. But inflation is going to be much higher than it is right now when the Fed does that. So the Fed is going to have to give up this pretense that it ever has a chance of bringing inflation down. I thought one of the most foolish comments that Powell made is he said that he didn't think there was any risk to the Fed
he said it
in
was
these swaps that they're doing with the banks.
Oh, right.
But, well, because he said the FDIC is insuring the banks, but the FDIC is broke. They don't have any money. The only way they're going to get money is if the Fed prints it. So all of this means more inflation.
I absolutely agree, but it also calls for oversight, which we were supposed to already have And the daily of the San Francisco Fed, it was on her watch, right? Isn't she the one who was supposed to have her offices be regulating those banks in California?
Well, Signature's here in New York, but SVB, absolutely.
SVB, yeah.
And they were in there. They were looking at SVB. They had recognized there was a problem, but they didn't do anything about it. And there were so many better ways for SVB that they could have lent their portfolio over to the Fed. But once they sold their portfolio to Goldman Sachs and took that multi-billion-dollar loss, all right, that alerted everyone. And Goldman said, well, we'll sell your stock for $200 a share. It was trading at $269. The next thing you know, it's 106, and the next morning it's 38. And now no more SVB.
Okay, that's called a bank under siege.
Yeah,
And
Liz,
now
you're never going to get you're never going to get effective regulation by the government. What we want is free market regulation. Unfortunately, we don't have that. You know, this financial crisis has been obvious for years. Only government regulators are blind enough to miss it. But if the government wasn't there, if banks and their depositors, more importantly, realized that their money was at risk, if a bank failed, then banks would be acting a lot more responsibly, because people would not deposit their hard-earned money into a bank that was taking too much risk. But thanks to the government, no one cares.
And speaking of deposits, the FDIC insured everybody's in both Signature and Silicon Valley Bank. And now there is word that they may have to take on all depositors who have more than 250,000, which is that limit at the moment. Our Grady Trimble actually caught up just a few hours ago with Senator Liz Warren in the hallway. She's on the Senate Finance Committee. And you got to hear what she says about oversight. Listen.
There's got to be a cap somewhere. Somebody can't, quote, deposit $1 billion, get a special deal from the bank, and still get backed up by taxpayers that they'll get their money back if the bank fails. That's not going to cut it.
Are you sick of having issues with your webinar? Trouble attendees?
Yellen Treasury said to everybody.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's just politics, but it's not really going to be taxpayer dollars. It's going to be inflation. See, every American, whether they pay taxes or not, is going to bear the cost of these bank bailouts, this new financial crisis.
We don't have enough money. Look on the screen,
inflation.
Peter.
Well, just
the
print it.
FDIC has $128 billion in its coffers right now.
They
this
have
would
nothing.
cost $17 trillion.
This ballot is going to explode. And the value of the dollar is going to implode. And the cost of living in the United States is going to double. It's going to triple. It's going to quadruple. And it's going to impoverish the vast majority of Americans. And they need to know the reason they're going to be so poor is because of the government. It's not because of the free market, because we don't have one. It's because of this big government. And Powell copped out when somebody asked him, you know, what about would you need some help from fiscal policy? And he says, well, we don't want to give any fiscal policy advice. That's BS. He should be giving advice when he knows the government is creating inflation by running these.
Hold on. So you heard what Peter Schiff said. The reason that people are going to be so poor and have nothing is because of the government. We can read in 2 Kings, when they tell you that the women were siding their children and people were selling doves, dung, and we was eating leather belts and bird dung and eating our children. Why did that happen? Because the government, it was about the government that failed, man. Same thing happening over and over. Let me see if I can get this real quick. What is that? 2 Kings 6. Yeah. So 2 Kings 6 in verse 24. It reads, and it came to pass after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Assyria, gathered all his hosts and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help me, help my lord, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor, or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son, and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, Give thy son, that we may eat him. And she had hid her son. And it came to pass, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he rent his clothes, and he passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his loin, upon his flesh. So it said they boiled her, right? They boiled the one woman's son. In Lamentations 4, it reads, verse 9, They that be slain by the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger, for these pine away, stricken through, for want of the fruits of the field. When you read in Isaiah 32, starting at verse 9, it says, Rise up, ye women, that are at ease, right? It said, Many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women, right? It said, The vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Meaning how you make your money working, right? Whether you making $20,000 a year or you making $500,000 a year, it's all going to fail. So that's why in this verse, in our 2 Kings 6, it mentioned the 2 women, because that's what men gonna be struck, 2/3 men too, but it's gonna hurt the women the most because they're the weaker vessels. So it say, the hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. It's going back to what I just read in 2 Kings 6. Sodden means to bore. The hands of the pitiful women, Lamentations 4 and 10, the hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. This is going to come again. And the point I'm making is, it's the system, it's the government. Let's run it back. I got to run this back. Because what he just said, let's run it back. Because he said it's the people, it's the government, man. And 2/3 of Jake trusting this system. Government mean mind control. Controlled mind.
In the United States is going to double, it's going to triple,
Okay.
it's going to quadruple, and it's going to impoverish the vast majority of Americans. And they need to know the reason they're going to be so poor is because of the government. It's not because
See, the reason they're gonna be so poor is gonna be because of the government, man. See, this guy Peter Schiff be going in, man. You're gonna find out you've been trusting in this system, this broken reed. And I only had a few precepts, but now I'm thinking about a lot more. Let me get this. Isaiah 30 and 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So if you ain't covered the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, that means you covered in the government. You trust in this system. That walk to go down to Egypt and have not acted my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore, shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. This is Isaiah 31 and 1. This place is falling, man. It's going to fail you. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh. Yet he also is wise and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men, the Edomites are men and not God, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and they that is hoping mean to be helped, shall fall down, and they all shall fail together. And that's why I said in Isaiah 30 and 12, it reads, Wherefore thus saith Jehovah, the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon. Therefore this iniquity What iniquity? To trust in oppression. Therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out of a high wall whose breaketh comes suddenly at the instant. So you trusting in man. This is Jeremiah 17:5. It reads, thus saith Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord. Now I just said in Isaiah 31. Let's read again. Let's go back to this real quick. It say, now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses flesh, meaning the horses represent power, right? They're military. And now the Egyptians are men and not power, and their horses flesh and not spirit, right? It's all vain, man. When Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they all shall fail together. Isaiah 13:15. Classic precepts. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through. And what Yahweh shall say in Luke 19:27, but those my enemies, right? Let's read that. Come back to this. In Luke 19:27, it reads, but those my enemies, which would not that I should reign over them. What does that mean? You don't want to return back to Yahweh Shema Shah. You want to try to figure out something else. John 10:1. You're either going to come through this door, this straight gate, or you trying to find another way on a wide gate, man. It ain't no other way. You're going to find in the end, there is no other way. And here is an Edomite that got gold and silver, Peter Schiff, who's telling you, hey, ain't no other way, man. Ain't no other way. That's it. There isn't another way, man. But those my enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, simply telling Jake to repent and turn back to the Lord, bring hither and slay them before me. So, in Isaiah 13:15, it reads, everyone that is found shall be thrust through. Found well, without the mercy of the Lord. Found outside of this gospel, outside of this circle. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through. And everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. See? So the Lord said, bring them hither and slay them before me. Let's finish this.
Because of the free market, because we don't have, because of this big government, and Powell copped out when somebody him, what about, would you need some help for fiscal policy? And he says, well, we don't want any fiscal policy advice. That's BS.
Okay.
He should be giving advice
Andy?
when he knows the government is creating inflation by running these huge deficits. It's up to Powell to tell the government to stop doing that, to cut government spending. But he refuses to stand up for the American public. He doesn't really want.
Oh, let me get this. In Matthew 22, this is Matthew 22:15. Then went the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. And they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true and teachest the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, but thou regardest not the persons of men. This is them trying to be subtle with the Lord. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? But Yahweh shall perceive their wickedness, and said, why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? Show me the tribute money. And they brought unto him a penny, and said unto them, who is this image and superscription? They said unto him, Caesar's. Then said he unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. So, let it go, man. Let this system go, man. It's falling. And Jake putting everything they got there in all their power, in their strength to be successful, whatever that measure is to them, whatever that lot is, whatever they're trying to do in this life, Jake is going hard at it. We always say, hey, we went hard for the Lord. We went hard for the world, man. When we was in the world, we was going hard for the world, man. Well, the Lord said what? Baruch 4:28, it reads, for as it was your mind to go astray from power, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. We was going hard in the world, man, trying to be successful. Whatever that is, whatever you was trying to do, we went hard at it, man. We was putting all our strength into this place. And look what's happening. It's falling, man. And it's at least doing this, man. They got to crunch these numbers until there ain't no more numbers. Everything going to be on the C-hip, man. Let's finish this.
Want to do his job. He's
Let me get in
kowtowing
here.
to the Biden administration.
Let me get in here because, Andy, the markets don't really seem to mind at the moment about anything that is sort of dripping fear over all of us here. We got the Dow down about 67. The S&P is up 2. The NASDAQ is up 39. Russell's down 17. And the volatility index is not showing any signs of distress whatsoever. It's down 4.7%. What's the trade?
Here it is, Liz. On one side, you have regional banks, and they're going to stop their lending. They're going to cut down their lending. It's going to hurt commercial mortgages. It's going to hurt small companies, small cities.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, the Fed's going to have to respond by lowering rates. So the market realized now that rates have to come down. And whether Peter's right or not, he's right on certainly a lot of things. The Fed itself has lost $1.1 trillion in their holdings just because of the way interest rates have gone. But I think the Fed's eventually going to lower rates. And I think that's what equity markets are betting on right now.
Well, the home builder.
You see, Peter Schiff that said the FDIC don't got no money, man. They broke. So, hold on. Let's get some pre-sales here, man. These people, hey, this fiat currency is a Ponzi scheme, man. But this is all leading to the C-hill, man. So let's change this out. Get this blue letter. So I was thinking about a few precepts I had when I saw this at the plantation last night. Jake is putting all their strength into this place, man. So this is Lamentations 1:1. It reads, how do the city sit solitary that was full of people? Talking about Jerusalem. How is she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations, okay? Yes, the Lord created 18 nations. The 12 tribes of Israel is one nation. So these other 17 heathen nations, we was great. We was the greatest among them, right? Deuteronomy 7:6, the Lord said he set us above all nations. She that was great among the nations and princess among the provinces. How has she become tributary? What are we today? Tributaries, man. This is what we are. This is, let's get this. Haggai. We are tributaries. So-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians are the biggest consumers on the planet, man. That's why when you read that story about Lazarus and the rich man, it said the dogs came and licked Lazarus' wounds, man. That's the nations making, that's these nations in Israel. We are tributary to these nations, man. Okay? Because so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians are the biggest consumers on the planet, man. We are tributaries to these other nations. North America, Babylon the Great, was built off the blood, sweat, and tears off the backs of so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Wall Street, man. The stock exchange. Everything that the so-called white man has today, it was built from Hebrew Israelites, man. All the inventions came from Hebrew Israelites, man. Everything. And what do? We go hard at everything we do, man. We put all our strength in everything we do. Jake figured out a way to make it easier, so Jake created the cotton gin, man. Okay? Everything that was created was from Jake, man. And we go hard when we do things. Look at the athletes. Look at the comedians, the movie actors, man. That's how Jake putting their strength into everything. And what did Taraji P. Henson, I did a video on her a couple years ago, her and Bow Wow. And they took my video down too, man. She said, we, talking in code, she said we in Hollywood make pennies on the dollar, but they make the dollars on the dollar. Who's she talking about? She said we make pennies on the dollar, but they make dollars on the dollar. She talking about so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indian, and Haitian that made it to Hollywood. Okay? Whatever it is, man. We make pennies on the dollar, but you bust your ass for these devils. But they make a dollar on the dollar. And she went into this whole thing about she had to get therapy and she started taking medication because she found out she make pennies on the dollar in Hollywood. All the actors, man. Denzel, Will Smith, I don't care who it is. Okay? And cold as Will Smith and Denzel Washington is, they is not a when it comes to money. Now George Clooney could be a Jake. I was finna say George Clooney. But they don't make money like Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks, man. Good as Denzel and Will Smith is, they'll never make the money that Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise make, man. Because this is not our rest. But we put all our strength in everything that we do here, man. Well, it's at your little 9-to-5 gig, man. You put your everything into these in these devils gig, and they give you pennies on the dollar, man. Haggai 1 and 2, thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, this people say, the time is not come. The time of the Lord's house should be built. Then came the word of Yahweh by Haggai the prophet, saying, is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your seared houses, and this house lie waste? If you ain't trying to build and add on to the house of Yahweh Shem Shah, you're gonna fall, man. Everything what you got now, everything you have accumulated, whatever it is, if you lost things, you had to start back over. The Lord's gonna take everything, man, because your mind is not focused on building this house. This to the men and to the women. You women supposed to be helpers, man. You're supposed to be helpers. Whatever your lot is, you're supposed to be helping these men. These ain't regular street niggas. The Lord have called these men out of the world to build his house, man. And you're supposed to be helping these men. You need to reach out and start helping these men, period. Because it ain't about us. It ain't about you giving to us. It's about establishing the Lord's house, man. You men out there, all you guys that got YouTube channels, no videos, but you posting precepts. Listen, where your love for the Lord at, man? Love is an action word, man. You're supposed to be showing you how about Shema Shai that you want to be a part of this. It says, now therefore, verse 5. Now therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts. Let me read this again. Haggai 1 and 4. Is it time for you? You're talking to each and every one of us. Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your seared houses, and this house lie waste? Now therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. Jake busting their ass, man, to build their own house. What about the Lord's house, man? You think, oh, it's enough brothers already teaching. It's enough sisters already helping. No, it's not, man. It's not. Matthew 9 will tell you that, man. The Lord say, the harvest truly is plenty, but the labors are few, man. And this house is men and women. Now, therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. And you have sown much. What do? We sow much, man, for these Edomites and bring in little. I don't care if you're making $1,000 a week, $2,000. What happened? Do you own any resources? Nope. So what happened? You got to go spend your money for your resources. Your food and clothes, and got to get tissue and toothpaste and soap, washing powder, dish detergent, bleach. If you're a clean person, right? Got to get these different Clorox sprays to clean the toilets and the tubs and the sinks. Your car need gas, insurance. If you got a newer car payment. You got a house or apartment. It doesn't matter. Bills, man. You have so much, and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough. What does it mean you don't have enough? Because you constantly got to go and buy more. We ain't had to buy none in the ancient time. Your lands was passed down from one father to the son, man. Your cattle, okay? We had wells, man. You have so much and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you're not filled with drink. Meaning we don't own nowhere where the wine and the water come from. We don't own none of that. We don't own the vineyards. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. Meaning clothes get old and wear out. What happened? You got to go buy more. We don't own no resources. And Jake think we have a monetary problem when we don't. We have a sovereignty problem, man. We have a sovereignty problem, man. We don't own no resources. And this is not our kingdom. And we'll never get it on this side. Jake trying their best. Look at LeBron James, man. Forget LeBron James. Look at Michael Jordan, man. I mention it all the time. This man got billions of dollars and he don't own no resources, man. You know how crazy that is? He have so-called allegedly billions of dollars, but he don't own no resources. Tiger Woods, all the money. Michael Jackson owned the Kellogg for the Beatles, man. This man, billions of dollars, man. He ain't own no resources, man. You have so much and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you're not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm, because we don't have no resources. And the minute you get your money, you spending it on resources. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. See, thus saith the Lord Yahweh hosts, consider your ways. Go up to the mountain and bring wood and build a house. This is a spiritual building, man. And I will take pleasure in it. And I will be glorified, saith Yahweh. You look for much, and lo, it came too little. And when you brought it home, you got your nice little fat check. And when you brought it home, I did blow upon it. Why? Saith Yahweh of hosts, because of my house that is waste, and ye run every man unto his own house. See? Therefore, the heaven over you is stayed from dew, and the earth is stayed from her fruit. The earth supposed to be in sync with us, man. But because of the wicked rulers, the earth is mourning. The trees, the animals, everything is mourning, man. That's why we got to build the Lord's house. And if you don't partake in building the Lord's house in Psalm 25:7, it say there will be no covering for you, man. Let me hold that. There is no covering for those that's not built, for those that's not being partake of the Lord's house, man. This verse 11. And I call for a drought upon the land, and upon the mountains, and upon the corn, and upon the new wine, and upon the oil, and upon that which the ground bringeth forth, and upon men, and upon cattle, and upon all the labors of the hands. Everything that's done here, it's not going to profit you, Jakes, man. Whatever you do at the end, it's not going to profit you, man. Because the Lord saying, he called for a drought upon the land. Hosea 4. He's taking away the fish, the fowls, and the beasts. Right? In Joel 1:16, it said, our meat is being destroyed before our eyes, man. The fruits, the vegetables, everything. The Lord doing this. Why? Because the wicked rulers, man. See, the earth is in sync with the Hebrew Israelites, man. And because we are not in rulership, the trees and the animals are mourning. The women are mourning. Even the ones that's prideful and arrogant and walking with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, they mourning too, man. It's just the pride in the way, man. Everybody is mourning because the wicked rulers, as the scriptures say. Okay? When the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, man. But the Lord, we talking about so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, you ain't gonna never profit in this place, man. You'll never profit. And again, if you're not partaking in this house, you men and women, you will not have a covering in Jacob's trouble. Let's read it. Psalms 25 and 7. Salakia. Psalm 27 and 5. Salakia. It reads this. If you ain't building this house, you ain't gonna have no covering, man. This is Psalm 27 and 5. For in the time of trouble, what trouble? Jacob's trouble, he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. See, pavilion and tabernacle, there's a roof on this, man. There's a covering. He shall set me up upon a rock. So if you're not trying to build the Lord's house, you ain't gonna have nothing, man. Let's get this. You're gonna be destroyed, man. Lamentations 5. There's some points I was meditating on, man. Jake is putting all their strength into this place, and this place is weak, man. It's falling. This is Lamentations 5 and 4. Going to we have drunken our water for money. Why are we paying for water, man? In plastic bottles with pork in the plastic. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Why we gotta buy wood when the trees is free, man? In the ancient time, we ain't had to go buy nothing, man, because we had land. If you want to build you a nice nice little one-story flat, your wood, you cut it down yourself, man. And the Lord gave us a law on what trees to cut down. What is the devil doing? He just cutting them down, man. We have drunken our water for money. We had wells, man. We ain't pay for no water. Our wood is sold to us, okay? Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. What is this talking about, man? We have become tributary to all these nations. This is Baruch 3 and 8. And it reads, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, but thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquity of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. And to be subject to payments, man. The minute we get our money, it's gone. You barely can save, man. Let's get this. So Jake is busting their ass for nothing, man. Micah 2 and 10, it reads, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction. Oh, let me see if I can pull this real quick. Bear with me here. Let me read this to you. It's in the Apocrypha, though. I want to pull this on the screen. Let me show you something. Lord willing, if I can get it here. I want to pull this in Ecclesiastes 38. So this is Ecclesiastes 38. Look at this, man. Start at verse 24. Jake think this is what it's all about, man, and it's not. Hold on, let me drop that. Bear with me for a minute here. Let me pull this up. So this is Ecclesiastes 38 and verse 24. This is about building the Lord's house, man. Nothing else matters at the end of the day. And the Lord give us our daily bread, man, to keep us, to sustain us, man. And if you want for anything else extra than your daily bread, then you are greedy and you're going to be destroyed, man. Because the Lord giving us our daily benefits. And to tell you in Matthew 6, when I read Matthew 6 years ago, that just took me over the top with faith, man. Because the Lord said, don't worry about what you're going to eat or what you're going to put on. Don't worry about tomorrow. That just took me over the top with my faith. That put me on a whole nother level, man. Because Jake out here stressed out about bills. You may be at this 2-3 day deadline or whatever. Or they're going to cut off your lights or this or that. Whatever the situation is, man. Hey, the Lord going to show you, and each and every one of us had this in our life, since we've been in this truth, the Lord have proven us many times over and showed us, just hold on, wait, watch this. And the Lord always come through, man. Yeah, about your mama shot always come through, man, every time. This is Ecclesiastes 38:24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that have little business, little, shall become wise. You trying to work 2-3 jobs? When you gonna put work in for the Lord, man? If your one job ain't sustaining you, you need to find another job. Because if you're working 2-3 jobs, when you got time for the Lord? Now listen, from 25 on down is the point I want to make. Because these are the ones that's in the world that's maintaining the earth. Listen to this. This is verse 25. How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow? Not the plow for the truth. That's in Luke 9:62. It's talking about the main that's working. How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow? And that glorieth in the gold, that driveth oxen, and is occupied in their labors, and whose talk is of bullocks, right? Dealing with cattle, sheep. He giveth his mind to make furrows, and is diligent to give kind fodder. When you look these up, it's talking about a person that got land, that's growing crops, okay? So every carpenter and workmaster that laboreth night and day, and they that cut and grave seals, right? The contractors, right? It say, and are diligent to make great verity, and give themselves to counterfeit imagery, and watch to finish a work. The smith also, sitting by the anvil, and considering the iron work, the vapors of the fire, wasteth his flesh, and he fighteth with the heat of the furnace, those that make weapons, right? The noise of the hammer and the anvil is ever in his ears, and his eyes look still upon the pattern of the thing that he maketh. He setteth his mind to finish his work, and watcheth to polish it perfectly, right? Their strength is in their craft, in their working. Look, so doeth the potter, sitteth at his work, and turneth the wheel about with his feet, who is always careful, set at his work, and maketh all his work by number. So when you go to Walmart, what you see? All these plates, when you go to plates and cups. Here is the potter that's making plates and cups, right? And different coffee mugs, all this. All these people, listen, this is verse 30. It said he fashioned the clay with his arm. He bowed down his strength before his feet. He applied himself to lead it over. He is diligent to make clean a furnace. All these, who? Men of the world, women of the world, all these trust to their hands, and everyone is wise in his work. Without these cannot a city be inhabited, and they shall not dwell where they will, because they always got to work. It's verse 24 said, what? He that have little business. If you're working 2 or 3 jobs, that's not little business. That's a lot of business. You don't got no time to feed the sheep. You don't got no study time. It say, without these cannot a city be inhabited, and they shall not dwell where they will, nor go up and down. They shall not be sought for in public council. The Lord ain't looking for these type of people. Nor sit in the congregation, Salakia, nor sit high in the congregation. They shall not sit on the judge's seat. So these men the carpenters, the contractors, the plumbers, right? All these guys can't even think of enough. All these guys, those that be up every time I leave camp on Saturday night, I'm sliding through the city. I see Jake out here on Saturday night. Well, it'd be like in the morning time, like Sunday, early Sunday morning, 1, 2 in the morning. You got the guys out here that's doing the roads, man. Putting down new asphalt, man. Okay? And listen, we don't supposed to be working overnight anyway, man. These overnight jobs, man. When the sun go down, the work they're supposed to be over, man. The Lord established that to be over. It's supposed to be at home, family time. But here we is on overnight jobs, man. It say, they shall not be sought for in public council, nor sit high in the congregation. They shall not sit on a judge's seat. What the Lord tell Peter? They that follow me in a regeneration, right? Shall sit upon the 12 tribes, judging the nation, man, and the heathens. It say, nor understand the sentence of judgment. They cannot declare justice and judgment. No, because they mind is chasing the bag. They don't know the mind of the Lord, man. They don't understand judgment. It said, and they shall not be found where parables are spoken. That's why they come to camp scoffing, talking trash, because they don't understand these parables. It say, verse 34, but they will maintain the state of the world, and all their desire is in the work of their craft. See? Now, let me get this. I know it's one in Ecclesiasticus. Let me see if I can find it real quick from the phone. Because they say they won't sit on the judge's seat, right? I know it's one in Wisdom of Solomon. Bear with me here. See if I can find this. Right. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, in verse 6. It reads, as gold in the furnace have ye tried them, and received them as a burnt offering. Tell them the elect. Dealing with the men first and foremost. 144. In the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. They shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever. See, there's another one in Sirach. Again, it say, Wisdom of Solomon 3 and 8, they shall judge. Salakia. They shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever. See, it say their Lord shall reign forever. Watch this. Say the same thing in Isaiah 32 and 1, man. Let me get it. It's Isaiah. The Lord ain't looking for these guys that's one about keeping their strength into this place, man. And this place is crumbling like some bad cornbread, man. Isaiah 32 and 1 reads, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. See? Same thing it said with Solomon, man. It's another one. Let me see if I can get it. I know Ecclesiasticus. Bear with me here. If I can't find it, I ain't gonna stay on it too long. I just want to see. It's been a minute since I read it. Right, here we go. Call out Yabashim Abashai. Ecclesiastes 4. Now they say, verse 15, whoso giveth ear unto her shall judge the nations, and he that attendeth unto her shall dwell securely. See? Whoso giveth ear unto her, wisdom, shall judge the nations, and he that attendeth unto her shall dwell securely. Attentive unto her. I just talking about with your whole heart, man. Because it said in Sirach 34, Sirach 30 and 24, he that have little business shall become wise. So, and let's get this. Jake putting all Jake putting all their strength into this place, man. And it's weak. It's falling. It's crumbling. And Peter Schiff said, what? You're going to find out the reason you poor is because of your government, man. Revelation 2:9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. See? The hopeful elect, man. Let me get this. The hopeful elect, man. The Lord has pulled us back, has drawn us back from giving these devils our all, man. And we putting all our all into this truth, man. What is that? 2 Corinthians 6. I think it is. Let's see. Yeah. 2 Corinthians 6. Reading the point. Verse 10, it reads, as sorrowful, yet always rejoicing. We sorrowful. This is the hopeful elect. Always repenting to the Lord, man. Always praying to the Lord daily. Forgive us for screwing up. We messed up, man. We messed up. And we see now, like, hey, we ready to get the kingdom, man. We messed up, man. As sorrowful. And now we understand righteousness and wickedness, man. The hopeful elect do. As sorrowful, yet always rejoicing. Why? Because of this truth, man. Psalms 85:10. It say, let me read it from the phone. Psalm 85:10, it reads, mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. So, as sorrowful, repenting always to the Lord, yet always rejoicing. Because mercy and truth met together, righteousness and peace have kissed each other, man. So, yet always rejoicing. As poor, yet making many rich. As having nothing, and yet possessing all things, man. Because Isaiah 33:6 reads, wisdom and knowledge shall be the bit of our times, and the fear of the Lord is his treasure, man. So while the Lord have got 2/3 of Jake putting they all into this place, like I read in Sirach 38:25 on down, it said they won't be sought for him in these councils, man. Nor sit how in the judges seek, man. So these guys that you see that's driving 18-wheelers or they driving dump trucks. And you got Jake that's doing, I'm talking about those of the hopeful elect. These other guys out here that's doing all that, man. The Lord ain't looking for them, man. Their lot is to maintain the world, man. And these hopeful elect men lot is to maintain the tabernacle of David, man. Lord willing, to the best of their ability. Lord willing. This is our lot, man. Let me get this. This is our lot, man. Until the Lord take this from me, this is my lot, man. Lord willing. 1 Corinthians, what is that? It's been a minute since I read this. And it got thrown off. 1:26, I think it is. This is our lot, man. 1 Corinthians 1:26, it reads, for you see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh. See, the Lord looking for these men after the flesh. Not many mighty, right? You got these veterans, Navy, Marines, Army, Coast Guard, Air Force, or some big super swole UFC wrestling, some big bodybuilding, slow-bellied nigga. Not many noble are called. Again, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. But power hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. What's foolish? Our Lord and Savior is a so-called black man from the tribe of Judah and his father. What's foolish? The only one gonna get salvation is the 12 tribes of Israel. Thus saith the Lord. What's foolish? There is no such thing as a rapture doctrine. What's foolish? North America is going to be destroyed by missiles. North America will be that lake of fire in Revelation 20 and 14. These are foolish things to the world, man. But God have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, man. Okay? These are the foolish things, man. Oh, the two witnesses, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. That's foolish to the world, man. They don't understand these parables. Why? Because it's not given to them, man. Their job is to maintain the lot of the world, to maintain the world, man. That's their lot. Well, the Lord have woken you up and gave you this truth. That's not your lot to maintain the world, man. Your lot is to receive the daily benefit that the Lord give you and to help build this tabernacle of David, men and women. Let me get this one. 1 Corinthians. Seven and 20. At the end of the day, none of these things matter, man. Revelation 2 and 4, the Lord say, our first love, man. Return to your first love. Because this is the door to the kingdom of heaven, man. 1 Corinthians 7 and 20. Let every man abide in the same calling wherein he was called. Art thou being called a servant? Care not for it. For what? Proverbs 27:23 say, know the state of thy flocks and look well to thy herds. Right? So, art thou called being a servant? Care not for it. For what? The sheep, the flock, the ministry, the edifying of the body. Till we all come in the union of the faith, man. But if thou mayest be made free, use it rather. What? Use what? Wisdom. So feel, man. Use this wisdom and understanding to feed the sheep. For he that is called in the Lord, being a servant, is the Lord's freeman. Likewise, also he that is called, being free, is a Mashiach's servant. Ye are bought with a price. Be not ye the servants of men. Huh? What does that mean? You took the 501c3 tax exempt? Be not ye the servants of men. Now it's Most High Christ and blessed. Most High Christ blessed, right? Now you can call the Lord whatever you want to call him. Be not ye the servants of men. Took that bag. Tell you in Isaiah 33 and 15, he that is righteous will not receive a bribe. You can't give a man a bribe, not a righteous man. Be not ye the servants of men, brethren, let every man wherein he is called therein abide with power. This is about you adding to the building, man. This is about the Lord's house being built. So Jake running around here trying to build the so-called white man's house, man. And it's falling. The Lord even said in Amos 9, he said, smite the lintel of the post that the door may shake, man. So the way that you following to the so-called white man's house, let me read it. I just want to read the top of this. Amos. The Lord is destroying these devils' house, man. And Jake still trying to run in the door, man. Amos 9 and 1. I saw the Lord standing upon the altar. Babylon the Great is the altar, man. Tell you in Isaiah 34. Okay, it's going to be a sacrifice in Bosra. Talking about North America, Babylon the Great, man. I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door that the post may shake. This is destroying these devils' house, man. And cut them in the head. All of them. What head? The 7-head, 10-horn system of the so-called white man. Okay? Their house is falling. It says, smite the lintel of the door that the post may shake, man. And you still got 2/3 of Jake running into this door, man. What this is? You trying to climb up some other way. Jake putting all their strength still into this place. And these devils is destroying the money purposely so they can bring in the sea help, man. Jake putting all their strength into these devils. Well, I love my master. I will not go out free. That's what Jake's saying. Exodus 21. I love my master. I will not go out free. So put that all in my ear. Let me get that. Thus saith the Lord, they're going to take it, man. Let's see. Beautiful. Let's read this. Shalom to all the Akim and Awa from the comment board tuning in. Yahba Shema Shah Brakatham. It's James 2 and 5. GMS out of one Ratazah is the head brother of the camp Nahoya. Shalom. You put up James 2 and 5, it reads, Hearken, my beloved brethren, have not power chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith, beautiful, and heirs of the kingdom, which he hath promised to them that love him. And this is about the love of the Lord, man. Beautiful. This is, he put up Matthew 7 and 26. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. Yep, cold. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. See? So reading, going back when I read Haggai 1, man, if you ain't gonna build on the Lord's house, your house gonna fall, man. Just watch and wait for it. Watch the Lord work, man. And every time we do lessons, whether it be rebuke lessons or shed light on Jake about this place is crashing, hey, man, after those lessons, after that energy get pushed out, that righteous energy of Yahweh Shema Shah, watch Yahweh Shema Shah work, man. Every time, watch the Lord work, man. So the Lord wasn't edifying, got to give all praise and glory to Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rekah Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and the bishops and elders of Great Millstone who well, who teach well. Well, the apostles and elders of all of Israel already accepted or not. In the sincere salutation to all the Akim pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, working on the hope for elect. Shalom to the Awak who are listening and learning. If you sisters who are listening and learning. Hey, to all for tuning in. Until next time, I say Shalom. Wa Abba Abba.